Well, Renana and Bathsheba, along with Hadass Dan Calderden, whose two daughters were kidnapped as well, made this plea to Hamas.
Their children. Think of your own children. I'm sure Hamas also has children.
Families, children.
I'm sure that you have families, and I want you to remember that they're children. And please take care of them as children. And release them.
Save them.
Release them now.
Immediately. Send them home. We want to hug them. We want to smell them. We want to protect them.
You have mothers of your own. This is against all rules of humanity, all rules of Islam. Just release them and send them home.
Well, their children are among the 242 hostages currently captured by Hamas militants and believed to be held in tunnels under the Gaza Strip. I mean, the courage that these three mothers showed today in talking to the press and talking to our colleague Sarah Houston is extraordinary. And, of course, what they're trying to do is remind everybody about the plight of the hostages, because there is this fear 1 month on since they were taken, since so many 1,200 Israelis were killed and the hostages, more than 200 hostages, were taken. The fear is that people have forgotten that because so much more blood has been spilled in that month, thousands of Palestinians in Gaza have been killed, that the plight of these hostages and these children has been completely forgotten. And I think the fact that we're all visibly shaken is a good thing. But, of course, you just think, is anybody listening to this?
I think they are, and I think it's more than a fear that the hostages have been forgotten. I think it's a reality because people have lost track of what's happened to them. They slightly read some stories at the beginning that 1 or 2 were handed back. And then, as you say, this absolute torrent of other hideous news has kind of masked the fate of the hostages, and each of them is an extraordinary, appalling human interest story. I mean, I have to say, began to feel almost sick listening to those stories. I have children that age, you know, the horror of them being removed, and, you know, just the awfulness of the boy saying, I'm not old enough. Well, of course he's not old enough. No one's old enough to be taken hostage. But just as a mother, and no mother can listen to that, no father, I'm sure, either, without feeling profoundly moved. On a political level, it's really important that Israel keeps pushing these stories out, because what has been so stunning in a bad way about everything that's happened in the last few weeks is the extent to which Hamas is winning, utterly bizarrely, a propaganda war. And I'm open-mouthed at the PR triumph they've pulled off against all the hideous reality.
But I don't think people have an impulse. They have an impulse to forget what happens to Jewish people for some reason. You know, there are still people who try to deny that the Holocaust happened. After the Holocaust happened, they acted like it didn't happen. And a lot of Jewish people have said there's a similarity here. Don't forget that on October the 7th, when 1,400 innocent Israelis were slaughtered in the most grotesque way, that was the worst massacre of Jewish people since the Holocaust. And many Jewish people have said it's extraordinary the way people are almost erasing what happened on October the 7th, and it is disappearing in the mists of time as we quite rightly worry about the fate of innocent Palestinians in Gaza Strip. But we must never forget what happened on October the 7th. And the point of these interviews is this is why, you know, the International Debating Society in its ivory towers, we call upon Israel to cease fire. They will not cease fire because of what those mothers were saying. Yeah. They will not cease fire until Hamas releases those kidnapped victims, those hostages, and that is the point. That is the point. They're being held underneath Gaza, and there will be no ceasefire unless Hamas let them go.
I think those brave mothers are completely correct, though, when they say that this is not a follower of Islam does not do what Hamas are doing. Hamas do not care. This is not a religious thing. Hamas are savages and they are brutal. And unfortunately, these pleas, I think, as you said, Daisy, I think they are going to fall on deaf ears if they're talking to Hamas, because from every action that Hamas have done thus far, there's no humanity with Hamas. No. They're going to continue to do whatever they choose to do. Yeah. But these mothers and their words and their stories may change the opinion of people who are going on these marches every weekend across the globe.
So if I may just, I have so many thoughts on this. I am shocked watching that, and it's the true colour, isn't it? It's the true picture, it's the true story from those families.
Reality.
And that makes it so hard to watch, because I think all of us are complicit in this, because we've been reporting on it for 4 weeks. We talk about objective numbers. We talk about 11,000 people killed.
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage,
Awful
all of that
phrases,
stuff. We talk about, and I've been accused of being too pro-Palestinian, too pro-Jewish as well, which kind of means, hopefully, I've got the objectivity right. But at the end of the day, these are human lives that are right in the middle of this. I also spoke to a young Jewish chap here in London who also explained to me what it's like to be Jewish on the streets of London right now, how frightened he and his family are. When you have swastikas being put outside your house, for example, this is unacceptable in this country. And I know we'll come on to talk about this probably, but just the strength of, and JJ is right, so that there is a conflagration in people's minds that they've got very confused between what Hamas stands for and what the Palestinian people stand for.
And deliberately so. And I think that has been deliberately conflated by those with malign intent, you know. And you can see it. You know, if you ask the average person who's inclined to take to the streets generally, would you want to come and join a peace march? Well, which of us round here is against a peace march?
Yes, I'm anti-peace.
Right, but it's very different when you ask them, well, do you support terrorists who behead and shoot babies and so on? Well, most people will say, vast majority of people, almost everyone is going to say no to that. But it is in the interests of those who are behind these marches. Ultimately, I'm talking about the top tier of people, to conflate the two things. And so suddenly this is all about peace. There's a brilliant thing somebody did in America who went out on the streets, and that, I don't know if you saw it, trying to get people to sign a petition to support free the Palestinians or something, and support Hamas in their battle to free the Palestinians. And they were like, do you want to sign the petition? And everyone was like, yeah. Well, I just want to make sure you know the terms and conditions. Just know what you're signing up for. And they began running through everything that Hamas stands for, and everybody fell away. And that just exposes the ignorance that is being preyed on in trying to coalesce people around this group.
I interviewed a mother of a 19-year-old Israeli soldier, IDF soldier, who was kidnapped and is currently held in those tunnels. And she knows this because she's seen video of him, which, if you think about it, is that horrible. I mean, it's good to see that your son's alive. What a horrible thing to see. So I said, what do you think about these huge pro-Palestinian marches that snake through the cities of London every Saturday, this weekend, probably Saturday and Sunday? I mean, I've seen two. I mean, literally 70, 80, 100, massive marches. I said, what do you think about them? She said, I think the vast majority of people in those marches are well-meaning people who have no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea what's going on, and they don't know what they're protesting about.
Right.
And that is the frightening
thing. It's a peace march.
These marches, I mean, I don't know if they're hate marches. I've been to a couple, as I say. I don't find them that menacing, but they are certainly strange marches. They're anti-Israel and they're anti-British.
But many people do find them frightening.
Yes, yes, they do. They do.